news for DMZ Season 2 just keeps on coming. After last week's announcement of a full inventory wipe, including all of your contraband weapons, all of your collected keys and keycards, and the faction missions, to yesterday's reclarification that the insured weapon slots would be staying and wouldn't be wiped, it's been a rather chaotic last few days or so for the DMZ. Today, though, we've got something much more complete and real. The reveal of DMZ's third map, Ashika Island. Now, this is coming at the launch of Season 2 on the 15th of February. It's a brand new map that will be shared with Warzone 2 as a resurgence map, but for DMZ, this just means a brand new set of locations to infiltrate, loot up from, fight players in, and then exfil away from. Now, we've got a few images to go through of the map that will give you a good rundown, so if you're excited for the new map, Ashika Island for DMZ, drop a like on the video, make sure you're subscribed as well for more DMZ videos and streams. I will be covering Season 2 very heavily here on the channel over the next few weeks. So first things first, the map itself, Ashika Island, has been developed by High Moon Studios. You might remember that name. That's the same development team that made the Fortune's Keep map for Warzone 1, the second Resurgence map, and that was widely regarded as a good Resurgence map. People still preferred the Rebirth Island one, the original map, but Fortune's Keep was still pretty good. It was slightly larger than Rebirth Island, the original Resurgence map, so I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say that it's likely that Ashika Island is going to be a little bit bigger, slightly larger, with a bit more room than Rebirth Island, more in line with what High Moon made for Fortune's Keep. Based on some of the images that are circling around on the screen, you can see some more open spaces around the points of interest. The central Suki Castle area seems to be set up a little bit higher than the rest of the island, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute, with the other POIs sitting around the more coastal areas. And that castle, by the way, it looks like it is going to be the castle map from World at War, and more recently the remastered version in Call of Duty Vanguard, so that will be a familiar location to a lot of you out there. All of the named locations do look very well detailed, with plenty of cover, lots of buildings and areas to explore and to use to your advantage. The Beach Club probably looks like the most exciting location on the surface, sitting right alongside the town centre, and the two locations kind of like merge together along the coast. They cover all of that southeastern coastline in this image here. The northern shoreline, that looks a lot less active, a lot less busy, apart from some kind of coastal defense area in the center, and that seems to have an underground waterway entrance built into it. There are actually two other waterway entrances on the map, and that explains why the center of the map is a little bit higher, because I think it's got these big waterways that go underneath the island and then connect in the middle underneath the castle. So there will be plenty of vertical gameplay opportunities here, probably plenty of pathways and passageways down to the water underneath the island. And that probably means that we're going to see boats here on Ashika Island. We have those in DMZ already on Al Mazrah, and you can drive them all the way through the river that goes right through the middle of the map. So it'll be cool to do that again over here on this brand new map. There's some kind of farming area on the northwest side of the map, and it looks to have some sort of hotel next to it, judging by the tennis court and the swimming pool. But with a lot of buildings up there in the northeast, that could be a really good looting spot in DMZ. As we already know, certain items are only going to spawn in certain places, and that kind of looks like some kind of like industrial farming area. So that is going to spawn certain loot that you probably won't get anywhere else. There's a residential location in the northeastern corner of the map, also containing lots of buildings, and then there's a shipwreck on the east coast. So, you know that Gold Skull Easter egg on Al Mazrah? Maybe we'll be getting something more in line with that here on Ashika Island. Who knows? Now, as for what this map is going to mean for DMZ overall, right now we know we're getting new faction missions for this map specifically, alongside a wider missions refresh happening for the start of Season 2. So that'll give you plenty of reasons to visit the map with your friends. And right now, the map doesn't appear to have any kind of entrance mechanism like we have on Building 21, where you need a keycard to enter. That doesn't appear to be here on Ashika Island. It seems to just be more like a standard DMZ map like Al Mazrah that you can just queue up for with your friends and matchmake straight into. As for player numbers, sorry, absolutely no idea at the moment. Al Mazrah supports 60 players, and that works really, really well. and Building 21 only supports 12 players, so you have 4 teams of 3. I'm going to assume that Ashika Island being, in terms of size, right in the middle of Al Mazrah and Building 21, that it's going to support a player number somewhere in the middle as well. I'm guessing, looking at the map size, please don't take this as official information, I'm guessing that we'll see a player count of maybe like 24 to 30, maybe around 8 to 10 teams of players. That seems pretty reasonable to me. But we'll likely get confirmation on player numbers later this week. There is a Season 2 blog post dropping in a couple of days' time, and we'll get lots more juicy information. One thing we do know for certain, though, is that you will be jumping into Ashika Island with your current insured weapon slots unlocked. Posted as a clarification yesterday, Infinity Ward stated that insured weapon slots would now not be part of the wider infantry wipe that's coming to DMZ when Season 2 launches. Now, whether this clarification is actually a clarification or whether it's a change based on community feedback, that wasn't really referenced, but whatever it was, the effect has been pretty positive. Since the announcement of the inventory wipe for DMZ, the most painful point was those insured weapon slots. You'd worked towards those over the last couple of months, completing your faction missions to unlock them, so to wipe all of that progress wouldn't be a really good idea, considering the insured weapon slots are basically one of the very few progression elements in DMZ at the moment. Wiping those insured weapon slots was literally going to wipe out all of the trace of the work that you'd done over the last 2 months, because they're also going to be refreshing the faction missions at the same time. So I am glad to see Infinity Ward listened and reacted to the community feedback, or they did indeed just clarify what originally their plans were going to be. Either way, it doesn't matter. I think this is a better solution for everybody. More information on the new DMZ map Ashika Island is coming soon. As I mentioned, there's another blog post dropping later this week for the map and the Season 2 update combined, so stay tuned. But right now, you should check out this DMZ round that Stott and I had the other day, where we were pinned down by a team very soon after spawn, and let's just say it didn't end well for them.